Good afternoon, Californians. It's Tanya here on this really unusual day. And we have a really special guest for you today. As we all can see, our sky remains orange, and we are coexisting with these unusual circumstances where people all over California are without their homes, and we are living with a new reality. I have someone with us today that will spark a light of inspiration in our hearts, and I'm so excited to bring her to you today. She is from San Fernando Valley, and I knew her as a little girl. She means so much to me, and we've reconnected, and following what she's doing with her life has meant the world to me. She is an award-winning activist on the streets of Los Angeles. The things that she's created with her life are phenomenal, and the direction that she's going to continue to go are phenomenal. I'd like to introduce Laura Rathbone, who has won the 2017 Champion of Change, the 2019 Volunteer of the Year, and the 2018 Inspirational Woman of the San Fernando Valley. Let me add her here. Please welcome Laura Rathbone. Hey, Laura.
Hey, Tanya. Thanks for that introduction. You blew my mind. I'm like, who is
it? You're just waiting. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I mean, I love the way you interview people. And after the past interviews I saw, I was like, oh, this is going to be really fun.
Yeah, this really, really worked out. My heart is so with you and everything that you do. And human compassion right now, what it is and looking deeper into it is such an important thing. I think that our ability to connect with our community, starting from the ground up, is how we're going to make change. And you are the absolute leader. So I'd love to hear, I guess, if you'd like to start with what you're doing now, or if you want to start from the beginning, it's up to you.
Yeah, I think what really got me involved was like wanting to see change and trying to get it from the top down, like our political leaders and advocating that way. And I wasn't seeing it fast enough. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to start this on my own then and create the change I want to see. And by doing that, it actually started to show that it was working. And then political leaders were actually seeing kind of what we were doing, as boots on the ground advocates. And, I just really want to tell people, like, it just starts with an idea and, be the change you want to see. If you're passionate about something, just go for it, just start it. Don't worry about becoming a 501c. Don't think about turning it into a career path. If you want to do something once or for a month, just go with that idea and create the change you want to see.
And Laura, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You were born in Los Angeles, and that's where you are right now?
Yeah, I was born in the San Fernando Valley. And then I did some traveling outside of the United States, and then I came back. And so now I'm here right now. But I do hope to travel around the world again. And kind of plant my feet. Well, never plant my feet, actually, just kind of keep traveling abroad. But when I came back after traveling Southeast Asia, and I came back to the San Fernando Valley, and I started volunteering, and then got employed. I still have
What was the first volunteer work?
My first volunteer, I've always kind of done a little bit of volunteer work, but it started when I was traveling in Southeast Asia in 2015, 2016. Every country that I visited, I would kind of volunteer on my own because I was by myself. And so I would volunteer at different agencies, mostly with animal rescues or orphanages, or I would just go ahead and just clean local beaches. And I felt that way I was really meeting the local community and experiencing traveling, not so much as a tourist, but getting invited to really, hang out with the locals and learn the culture. And when I came back to the San Fernando Valley, I was like, I haven't really served my community here. I was so career focused, and that's when I really started. I dove into volunteer work when I came back here in San Fernando Valley.
So, what was your original career? When you would say you were career focused, what was that?
I was an art fabricator for 11 years for the artist Paul McCarthy. And so kind of just like fabrication, but of art materials, silicone sculptures, painting, tons of fiberglass and Bondo work, like some pretty bad chemicals. And after 11 years, the chemicals started to, like, my tolerance broke down, so everything was swelling up. I'd have panic attacks. I'd have to wear respirators and hazmat outfits, and my body just couldn't take it anymore. But it was an amazingly fun job. But what I do right now, I feel like it's very, very rewarding in another sense, because I'm really serving the community that served me.
So in what way do you feel like the community served you? Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up?
Yeah, so actually my dad still lives in the same house that we grew up in. My nephew started attending the same elementary school that we did. Just the great memories, the friendships and the bonds, the schools, my first jobs, the colleges I attended. No matter how far away I go from the San Fernando Valley, specifically my dad's neighborhood, if I still ride a bike there, that's the closest I've ever felt to home, is in his neighborhood. No matter where I go, when I come back, it's just that feeling where, like, home.
So it's like a lot of gratitude that this sparks from, and then for that feeling of home, and then you just develop this whole program, which I just can't wait to get into. There's so many things that you've developed. So
yeah.
So is that where you feel like your connection really comes from with the work, is through the gratitude and just knowing that you're doing the right thing, and you wake up every day knowing that you have a huge mountain to climb, but at the end of the day, your heart is on the right path?
Yeah, I remember when I first started doing outreach to people experiencing homelessness, I would feel like, I don't know, it was weird. I was like, why do I feel so good bringing food to people that live in the trails and the dirts without homes? Why does this feel so good? It shouldn't, I should be like sad and crying and miserable. And then I started this homeless voter registration campaign where I would go to winter shelters and sign people up to vote. And I don't know what it was, but it was the first day I was driving there, and like tears were just coming out of my eyes. I wasn't crying. I don't know what it was. It was just this insane feeling I don't think I've ever had.
Wow.
And I think the connection I made was me serving people brought me closer to my faith, or brought faith into my life, like opened this portal to whatever spiritual, and it was just like an amazing feeling. And I just felt if I kept following that path, doors just kept opening, and they did. And so it's hard work, but the doors that are opening are just like I'm not even knocking.
So tell us about what the doors are that are open right now, because I think it's really exciting that what's happening for you, the new platforms that you've fought and climbed and stepped up onto.
Sure. Well, I guess so the first one that started was Sisters on the Street. So me and my sister created this program when I was volunteering in the winter shelter and doing the homeless voter registration campaign. I saw that there was no feminine hygiene in any restroom. I saw a woman that was really frustrated and arguing with a mental health worker, asking for a pair of pants that didn't have blood on them because she bled through her pants. And when I went into the restroom, I didn't see any period products. And I asked the staff, and they said, no, if they want it, they have to ask for it. And I was like, what are you talking about? Why? And why isn't there just a box in there? And they said, because they'll take them all. And I was like, who cares? So that was no reason for them not to have it. So I got so frustrated. So I went in front of a Walmart with a cardboard box, and it said, I'm collecting pads and tampons for, shelters. And I maybe got a couple. And then I just kept advocating, and doors opened. And the next thing you know, we have high schools and churches giving us period products. And then just this year, we got donated over 130,000 period products, and we were able to support 63 agencies in Los Angeles County with all of those products.
Unbelievable. Did you get any feedback from those agencies, or what's the?
Yeah, well, I think what you'll notice is, county funded programs, anything, there's really no funding, to provide period products. So agencies, once they found out what we were doing, more and more kept asking, and they keep wanting it, and they need it for their clients and everything. So that's how we got to so far 63, was like word of mouth, and that's just showing the need right there. This is what we need. So super, super blessed, you know, started out in front of a Walmart with a cardboard box, and now we're like the main period product distributor for all of Los Angeles County.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's exciting, but I'm not done with, because it's got to be more than LA County. I gotta help California, and then.
Well, great.
Yeah,
Well, I hope that getting the word out there, that we can get you connected with other leaders so that we can, you know, just designate leaders all over California. You know, wouldn't that be great? I mean, how can you get there without support? And so connection and excitement for this is the way to go.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is if you want to do this in your area, please do. Like, you know, it shouldn't just be one group or 5 group doing this. It should just be like everyone in the community just helping their own community. So if you know a sober living home or a school that doesn't have these products, you know, host a drive and donate it, you know. Anyone can do this. You know, we're not a 501c. We have a fiscal agent, and that's just because after the work that some corporate offices saw that we were doing, they were like, we want to give you $10,000, but you need a 501c. And so we reached out to this amazing agency, and they became our, you know, fiscal agent. We're kind of one of their programs. But, you know, if you're passionate enough about something, and, you know, people will believe in you and support you in any way you can.
I don't even know what a 501c is, but I trust you that it's kind of complicated.
It's a nonprofit, tax ID.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. So then, so that happened first, and so you had that huge success with that.
Yeah, but you know, on top of all that,
well, in the process, like your heart began to open more and more, right? I mean, you were like, oh my God, we can, with small changes, I can move big things, and you had access to this, to all this change. So yeah, how did your heart all of a sudden become more and more open and be like, I have to do more, I'm gonna do more? And then what did that look like? Just more things falling in your path? Is that what it was? More doors just open. There was like, Lord, go.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, when I was Sisters on the Streets, I started getting all this recognition and these awards, and I couldn't believe it. I was getting awards with people that had worked in nonprofit agencies for 25 years, and here I was like 2 years in with the pads and tampons and being recognized. But I did a lot of other things too. I was constantly advocating, you know, for people experiencing homelessness, doing street outreach, you know, helping people access housing without working for an agency, without using county funding, really finding the loopholes, and that was getting recognition as well. And then, so the place where my father's been volunteering for 27 years, cooking breakfast and running a shower program for people experiencing homelessness. I was volunteering with them as well, and they had a position open, and they were gonna start a safe parking program. And I was advocating for safe parking with a different agency for a while.
Can you tell us what safe parking is for people who don't know?
Sure. So safe parking is a program where we have, we use our parking lot at night from the hours of like 8:30 p.m. to 6 a.m. so people living in their vehicles can sleep in their car. We have a security guard on site. We have restrooms on site. You fill out an application and you're vetted, and we have on-site case management, employment resources. Because what they see is there's a lot of people sleeping in their vehicles and RVs on the streets. And in LA County, at certain points, they were making it so it was illegal to park within 500 feet of a school, a residence, or a park. And that was really pushing people to park in industrial areas near train tracks. And as women that sleep in vehicles, it's not safe for them. And it's not safe for anybody to park in those areas. If you scream or you need help, no one can help you. So the county invested in opening safe parking programs, and so that's what I got brought on to do and start. And, you know, we're the first of its kind to take RVs and have, you know, case management on site, showers, breakfast. It's an amazing program because housing may take a while, but if you need a place to sleep in your car, I can give you that tonight.
Wow.
You know, you can be safe. You don't have to worry about anyone assaulting you, stealing your stuff, breaking your windows, raping you, killing you. You don't have to worry about any of that because we got you here and we're going to watch over you. And You want to leave your windows down, just sleep. And a lot of people don't realize like how much sleep actually means, and the lack of sleep, what it does to your life and your brain, and it's horrible. So people just being able to sleep with a security guard and there's safe spots, you just see them change and really start to like their confidence goes up, and it just feels really good to see that.
Mm-hmm. So you're like a guardian angel who like totally started this thing that LA has never had before.
No, it started in Santa Barbara and San Diego about 12 years ago, but LA County, we just started in 2018.
Wow, with you.
Well, there was another program that started their own, and then we were the first kind of like independent on-site case management.
Wow. So you just brought it up a level.
We did, but it's the agency, North Valley Caring Services, has always been compassionate, and it's because of the staff and the agency, what we already have on site is pretty amazing. There's other programs where it's a parking lot and a porta potty. But we're also on the campus of United Methodist Church, which is amazing for, allowing these programs. The community accept us for what we already have been doing.
Do you speak at those, are you a speaker? Do you go to those churches and speak to help people that are kind of conflicted understand? Or can you give me an idea of all the places that you've had to speak, like city council and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. So I remember the first time I tried to get a safe parking program open at a church. It was this was so heartbreaking. So I was friends with the pastor, and the pastor was interested in having safe parking at his church, and it was a great idea. But the in order to get a safe parking approved, the city council member for that area has to approve so the funding can go through. And basically, we needed the neighborhood council to want this program in that area. So we had a neighborhood council meeting, and I show up, and there's probably 120 people there with signs, no tents, no homeless. And I saw them yell at my pastor for 3 hours, questioning his faith, telling him to pick up and move his church, to quit his job, to open a safe parking in his lot. The whole community pushed back on the idea of safe parking because they were just misinformed and they wouldn't let you speak. So that safe parking didn't happen. So, I've gone to churches, I've gone to neighborhood councils, I've gone to tons of just different groups to kind of explain what it is. But since I didn't really have a program to say, look, we already have one, it was really hard to get one up and started until North Valley Caring Service. The community is so great, accepted it, and now I can go and talk. In fact, we actually have other city council districts calling us saying they want us to operate a safe parking program in their area because they see that our numbers and the quality of life that we're giving to people.
Wow.
I talk a lot.
No, you don't. That's great. So have you done that yet? Have you been like, okay, I'm going to go to this county, or now you're kind of zoned in. You've got a lot of work to do with your work.
Yeah, so they're calling us now. So we have been looking at other programs right now, implementing in different areas, looking at different sites, really expanding our services and possible new, similar programs, but better. We're always trying to reach for the ways we can serve our community better. What elements can we add to that? And so that's what we're also looking about. Maybe a safe parking that's maybe extended hours, maybe 24 hours for RVs. We're just kind of seeing what's out there, and we're excited. I don't know if excited is the right word. Okay, in LA County, it's illegal to evict someone because of the pandemic. We don't know when that's going to lift. What I foresee, and I don't want to see it, is not a wave of people falling into homelessness, but a freaking tsunami, which is really heartbreaking and sad. But by having these programs, like I said, it's not housing, but it's something we might be getting in the same night, a safe place to sleep in their cars with their kids, their animals. So I don't know what the word would be, because it's not exciting, because I'm not excited for people to fall into homelessness. I don't want there to be safe parking. I don't want there to be shelter. I don't want there to be a need for these programs, but there is. So
Yeah, and that kind of leads us into what you were telling me over the phone, which I didn't know what it was. It's called trauma-informed care. I think a lot of us don't know what that means. Can you explain that?
Sure. So in like a lot of human services, you learned about trauma-informed care is basically assuming that your client or the person you're speaking with has suffered some form of trauma. So you want to make sure that the space that you open up with them is non-judgmental, safe, and just realizing what they're going through might have been something that was really bad that happened. What we like to do is we like to meet people with where they're at and help them up. We don't want to judge them for anything that they may have done in the past. But we're here for you now. So how can we help you? And let's seek that. So no judgment, completely open, a safe area, and just be aware of your surroundings and their behavior too, because you really want to make someone as comfortable as they can be to open up. But I mean, it's not just homeless services, it's everybody, you kind of assume that everyone has suffered trauma.
Is that in line? It reminds me of like the Zen way of being with not living in nonviolence. Is almost non-judgment the same as that? Have you read about, people are like they're non-violent Buddhists or whatever. It seems to me like taking it a step farther without judging. And I'd also like to know what your process has been, how you've evolved to become such a open heart. It's your ability to become non-judgmental is totally natural now, or did it just instinctually happen? Did you make mistakes? Is it okay for us to make mistakes, and how do we get better at being non-judgmental?
Yeah, I mean, no, I think I was definitely judgmental, especially like growing up. I feel like just in high school and stuff, like that's just what I was. But once you really get into human services and social work, is when you just it's who am I to judge? It's not up to us to judge. Like why it's not helping us, it's not helping them. Let's just help with people with where they're at and just help them with what they need. And sometimes it's not housing that they need right away, and that's okay. I just feel like life is a lot easier when you're not judging people and you're not being judged. I wish everyone would really think that way.
Me too.
Just start practicing it. Just try. Just assume everyone is some way because they suffered some horrible thing, which is really sad to think. But a lot of the traits and qualities that people are now, had to do with something that happened when they were a childhood. Yeah, but I guess what doing this work really made me realize how much of an empath I am. Sponge. And through that, and even the past interviews I've watched that people you've done, I really wish, just like a lot of them said, I wish someone would have like told me about boundaries in the very beginning, and it possibly could have helped really know your boundaries, but not just with clients, but with family and friends and stuff, because I feel we all overextend ourselves in so many ways, and it leads to like burnout and exhaustion, depression, a lot of different things. So I'm kind of, I had to learn the hard way on boundaries and self-care. But I mean, I don't regret it.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of us learn the hard way with boundaries. So are you finding it a little bit more comes natural now? I mean, I'm sure it's always work in progress, but.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I established my boundaries in the beginning. But man, you hear some things that people went through, and it's really hard to process that. But you just have to realize, okay, like this is, you just take a deep breath and be like, I understand why I'm feeling this way, but let's see what we can do to help with this person, and constantly trying to get people connected to mental health. But no, it definitely feels like I get punched in the heart sometimes. I took like this 40-hour course on case management for trafficked women. And at the end of the course, they were giving certificates, and I was like, I feel like my heart got punched all week. Like I don't think I can work in the fields of working with trafficked women. Like that would destroy me.
Yeah. So you didn't get your certificate, or you just did what you're not?
I did, but I'm not announcing it or telling anybody I took that training.
Good. So you know your boundaries there, what you can handle, what you can't. But that's really beautiful that, you know, your heart is so open with the people that you are. So you were telling me also that you know, you have been finding homes for people, but you don't have any time to sit and celebrate that you got to quickly move on to the next, that's what your job dictates. It's just got to be like you being this octopus. So it's like, it's just very interesting.
Well, and I'm just sure like that's what the nurses that work in an ER too, you know, yeah, you work so hard for so long to get someone into housing. And then I remember the first time I got someone in housing and I was expecting to feel this amazing joy and so happy. And I was like, that was so hard. that was so ridiculous. It should not be that hard ever, you know? And then I was like, okay, who's next? Okay, we just got to keep doing that. And then when you get county funding, you're supposed to have these program outcomes of these numbers that get into housing and referrals. And you work so hard that the second you get someone in housing, you're just like, okay, we got to get the next one. We want our program to keep going, so we have to show these outcomes. So I guess, you know, find a way with your employees and your fellow staff and your friends to celebrate those small victories. Don't let them go unnoticed, because you know, even though we have to like try to reach these numbers, you really have to think like, well, that person has a roof over their head right now. Like, that's like a life-changing thing for them.
That's crazy. So I know that you just wrote out another plan of funding and have another plan on the table. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're hoping to do next?
I can't really.
Okay. Because it's in the works?
Yeah. Okay, but you know, right now, like the agency North Valley Caring Services, things have changed so much. So I'll tell you about a little bit where I work. So North Valley Caring Services, you know, we operate a safe parking program. We're a family resource center for over 300 families that are living in motels along Sepulveda Boulevard.
Wow.
You know, they're on county food vouchers, 300 families. Every week, twice a week, we go and we deliver warmed cooked meals to those families because they don't have refrigerators. They can't cook. So, you know, sometimes all they have is their EBT, and at the end of the month, that runs out. So every month we provide, I believe, 900 meals to those families. Right now, downstairs, I was like teared up. We're doing a socially distanced classes for children, for the children of the motels, the volunteers, and the staff. And you go downstairs, and there's 30 kids, 10 in each classroom, and they have their headphones on, and they have their laptops on, and we have 3 child coordinators helping them log on to go to school, and they're all quiet, and they're just doing their school downstairs, because sometimes in the motels you don't have Wi-Fi. You know, it's open for anybody in the community's children. And then we have a chef that brings in snacks. We have like an on-site ESL English second language class by LASD for adults, and so that's about to go online. But the wild thing is we've always had a food pantry. Every Friday we would serve 400 households. When the pandemic hit, we realized how bad it was going to be. And right now, every Thursday and Friday, we serve 800 vehicles, 4 boxes of food. So
wow.
So that's 1,600 vehicles every week we are giving food to. Not on top of the 200 deliveries we're doing to the food seniors that are in quarantine. We're delivering food to them. We supply 5 other food pantries. We drop off 150 boxes to the veterans' apartments that are down the street. We support sober living homes. We're every Thursday and Friday. In fact, last Friday was the 50th drive-through pantry. The things that the agency is really doing
So this is all through your agency. I mean, it seems to me like there's all these little services, but your ability to kind of work there and integrate all of them, that's something what you do as well, right? I mean, you are not only the boots on the ground, but the eyes on the ground to see how this infrastructure could work a little better. And
Well,
the
so,
voice on the ground speaking about it.
so North Valley Caring Services has been around for like 27 years. They were mostly doing youth programs and breakfast and shower program. And then the executive director, Manny Flores, he became executive director, I believe, in 2017. And that's when we started, you know, we got the safe parking program, we got the family services. And that's when things like really started to pick up to really benefit the entire community. And it's just amazing, the dedicated staff that works here. You know, right now we have 75 volunteers running the food pantry with a staff of 3. You know,
Wow.
it's insane. We have volunteers coming in to be tutors for the children downstairs. Like, it's amazing. But we've always had volunteers, but you know, they've always helped with the food pantry. But now with what's going on is, you know, people just want to help so much, and they don't have, you know, maybe they can't do the monetary donation, but they have time, and you know, like so today's my 3rd day back to work in 6 months. I've been working from home, and so today was the first day I saw the food pantry. And at the beginning, you know, they opened with prayer. Like, we're not faith-based, but a lot of us do have faith. So it's, you know, you choose if you want to pray. And so we're there with the volunteers, and you know, they were leading in prayer, and I started crying. And it was you know, I've been attending church every Sunday online, you know, with my church that I've been going to for like 27 years. But, you know, I closed my eyes and I just started crying because it was like the first time I was praying with people like next to me. And I didn't want to cry, I didn't mean to cry, but the tears were just like coming down again. And it was like, you know, I miss this. And these are people coming together to serve the community. Yeah, it felt really good just to be there in prayer with everybody. So,
that's amazing. Oh, it makes me want to cry too. So good. I'm so happy to hear about that. It's so neat. I can't believe how many people want to help and are actually showing up. So are you saying that more people are helping now than they did before because people are feeling the sense of crisis and urgency?
Well, we've always had volunteers help with our food pantry, but yeah, we've been having newer volunteers call and asking how to help and want to drive and deliver. Yeah, definitely. I say we probably have like about 200 volunteers that help with the entire operation.
And so how did you win the Volunteer of the Year award? I mean, and you told me earlier, there was how many potential candidates for that award?
So each supervisor district was able to choose 3 people. And in LA County, there's 10 million people and there's 5 districts. And so I just got an email one day from one of the supervisor reps and was like, hey, we want to honor you. I don't know. I collect and give out pads and tampons. I was a director of like a homeless cleanup program, which, you know, in Santa Cruz, you guys started a program like a Clean Streets one. And I kind of replicated that one out here, and they'd love to see that. But I was really shocked, you know, I was like, okay, this is really cool.
Once you won that award, did you have to speak about it, or?
Did I speak at that one? I didn't. I don't think I got introduced and I got to like say hi and stuff. But then I got other awards after, like the council members were like, oh, we want to give you an award for that too. And then they would introduce me and then I would speak. And, you know, I'm always just trying to inspire people, like, not look what I did, but look what you can do. Like, yeah, just get out there and do it. It can be for senior citizens, for animals, for period poverty, you know, for refugees, whatever. Just think of something and get involved. And I'm sure you will see that spark. You will feel that spark, and how good it is. And it's going to inspire you to do something as well.
And then you know it's right when door after door begins to just start opening in front of you. You know that that's where you're supposed to be and what you're here for.
Yep.
That's so cool. I love that.
And you're going to meet some amazing people along the way too.
Yeah.
We have like other advocates and activists I've met that, you know, show up when we do a counter protest, counter marches. You know, when you start petitions and you just start to meet these other activists and advocates, it's really cool. You know, you find other people that are willing to like fight for a cause that people might not be aware of.
Wow, that's so cool. That's got to be interesting. So you have to get a coalition of people because what people are thinking is, I don't want trash on my streets. I don't want this in my neighborhood. But it's really interesting. It could be them. I guess I kind of want to talk a little bit about how easily it could be them. In your experience, we were talking about mental health and drug addiction and what small shifts in trauma or experiences could lead you in that direction. Can you give us some examples of what that's like for a person to be a normal person and then all of a sudden to shift?
Yeah, you know, sometimes people just experience some really tough stuff, and sometimes the easiest immediate path to go to can be food, drugs, or alcohol. Um, I myself, I'll tell you some instances of trying to get someone connected to mental health. You know, I just had somebody that needed it, and I went with them to their appointment to get mental health, and we sat there for 5 hours until their appointment was. You know, I myself trying to get connected to therapy using my insurance. My insurance sent me a list of hundreds. For a week straight, I probably called 28 different therapists,
Wow.
and each one, sorry, our waiting list is closed. We're not taking anybody. So it's definitely not as easy to access as you think it would. And you can call a crisis line, but you know, they're just going to try to get you connected to a service that's so overwhelmed. The fact out here that it's so sad is that drugs and alcohol are easier to find than shelter.
Wow, unbelievable.
It should not be like that. You know, you meet people living on the streets, and they're constantly in this fight or flight mode. You know, like, I can't go to sleep. What happens? And after days of not sleeping, or you try to sleep during the day and someone tells you can't sleep there, it's so horrible. You know, the death of somebody.
Yeah, the disparity. I mean, it's just crazy because a lot of the people that have wealth and have opportunities, you know, we're all really focused on manifesting and creating our own reality and having, you know, wealth and all these decisions to be made. And what ends up happening is these people are able to create all their dreams come true, but they're still living with this essential emptiness. And I think there's this, what you're speaking of in faith and service is just monumental. I think the ability to land in your heart and compassionate work for humans taking care of other humans in what you're saying is in any possible way that you can figure it out, do it. What you're inspired to do. So you don't necessarily have to have a plan, but just be open to receiving a message of what's a need and go, right? Is that?
Yeah.
That's so cool. So
yeah,
you don't have to do it your way. People can do it their way. They can be the, you know, support that they feel like they have something to offer. And I guess I'm really happy to do this interview because I just really want to talk about, you know, true fulfillment in being here on this planet. And part of that is staying connected to our community and to our hearts and compassion and who we really are.
Yeah. And you know, I always thought it was my traveling and volunteer work to Southeast Asia that really sparked me and got me into this. And then I really started thinking, so my mom is an RN. She's always been a nurse. And I don't know what your family says about you, but I always feel like she's going to be a nurse before she's a mom, before she's a friend. Like, that's what she is, right? She's a nurse. Even retired, she's still a nurse. And, you know, when we were younger, we would always have friends over at our house, and it's because there was violence going on in the home. My mom got legal guardianship of one of my friends because the parents were suffering from substance use disorder. My mom, would work with a woman that had MS for 11 years up until the day she died. And then my mom retired and took care of her parents while they were sick. And my mom even had a woman that was in her last stages of stage 4 cancer come and live with her so she can kind of watch over her for her last years. So my mom's always been of service, and I don't think I ever really recognized it until I was older. My dad too, ever since I was 19, whenever I would go to his house near the holidays, he would have people experiencing homelessness over for Thanksgiving. He would let people come and shower and sometimes stay the night there. And at that point, it didn't make sense, and so I think it was my parents and, me. I didn't even acknowledge what they were doing at the time, but, it really grew into me. So the compassion and wanting to help people, I strongly believe it's because of what my mother and father did.
And I guess I just really want to use you as an example, like, speaking about, people, their ability to manifest, to get riches and to buy the house of their dreams and the car of their dreams. But what you have done, what you're a leader in, is that you've been able to manifest, money and a program and incredible wealth that's poured towards these services and compassion. So it's just phenomenal. And I just hope that, people get to see this whole interview, and I can't wait to share more about your story. It's so cool. And have you ever considered writing more about what led you to it? Because it's really, quite interesting. And I don't think it's going to stop. And I think you should be documenting as much as possible.
I've heard that. I know I need to really get that pen to the paper or something, because there's just so many crazy coincidences that have happened, following this path. I'll definitely need to do that. When I get a break. When homelessness is done, that's never going to happen.
Yeah. So it was really cool when you were here in Santa Cruz and you took me to our homeless services, and I got more comfortable with starting to do donations. And it's hard, because what I find hard is that it's hard to get the information of what is needed. There's not a one place where it seems that you can go easily. So can you share ideas of things that are probably blatantly obvious to you of where we can find what's needed, where our help is needed?
Yeah, well, I mean, unless you have like a room for rent or a property, especially in LA County, we are looking for renters. We have funding that can help with that. But if you're talking about just like items, like definitely socks, definitely underwear, definitely bras, pads, tampons, hygiene and stuff. Even just like $5, gift cards to restaurants. That was really hard when it was only drive-thrus that were open. Winter's coming, tarps, beanies, gloves. Just think like, what do you like when you get something like a brand new pair of socks? People constantly need socks, just not just once. Like every day would be really nice to have socks and underwear. And that's something, yeah. So socks, underwear, gift cards, toothbrushes, makeup. Think about like the nice things that you like.
Right.
As,
Totally.
deodorant.
So every time you go to Costco, you don't necessarily have to go buy food, but if you can buy an extra bag of socks, that'd be great. Right next to our Costco in Santa Cruz, there is our homeless center, and you can just walk right up there. There's someone at the door, and you can just hand them something from Costco. So that's always a good practice. I'm definitely inspired to start another drive, and hopefully I can advertise your story a little bit more. But is there anything else that you wanted to hit on?
No, I think the interviews we've been doing are really amazing, and it touched me so much, and I watch them all the time, especially the one of like the retired nurses. So thank you for doing this. This is amazing. And I just want people to know, like, just get involved in your community.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be more traumatic things that happen to all of us. I think disparity is not going to be as evident because the world is changing so much. So we need to hang on to each other whenever we can, being nice to our neighbors, recognizing having our own little bit of uneducated trauma-informed care, like Laura said, remembering that we don't know what people have been through, and having an open heart and learning to keep your boundaries at the same time. That is the definition of being a nurse. I mean, that's exactly what we do as nurses. So that's quite interesting. Yeah, I really learned a lot about what, you were saying that your mom is going to be a nurse before anything else. And I didn't realize, nobody told me, I had no idea how becoming a nurse was going to change me permanently. And it really has, like when I was dating for a while, I had no ability to recognize red flags or anything because all I knew was I was supposed to be nice and kind. Like that is, in the bones. And so I'm really excited to start this project. But I think we just landed it on, the ferocious ability to live in the heart and to be there for each other is so powerful and so meaningful, and will make our lives so fulfilling, and also with an inner light that feels so purposeful and right on. So I just I love you so much, and I just want to stay connected with you. And I'm so grateful that I got to meet you when I was young. And I just remember walking the streets of Los Angeles, and I had no idea who you would become and who I would become. And I just can't wait to see where that goes.
I know, same here. I'm so excited.
Okay.
So we'll go back up there in October.
Yeah, coming October.
Yeah,
we can get some people excited and do another little tour to our homeless services and see what we can do for, we have people in need. But I know what's happening is there's a ton of resources that I'm seeing, maybe not the ideal ones, but there's a ton being donated for the evacuees. And I think it's starting to shift people's minds and hearts about all the people that are actually evacuated outside of a home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need laundry services. We need socks and underwear. And so we'll just keep going in that direction, stay connected, be there for friends who are going through hard things, even if they're difficult to talk to. So yeah, we've all had those. Well, I love you, Laura.
Thanks for having me today.
Have a great day and the rest of the month, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, bye.
Bye.